Question number 1 is asking you how many solutions, not what are the solutions. So the first case, we have absolute value equal a positive number, which is 7. So we know that the answer is going to be -7 or +7. So here we have two solutions. We have two answers. The second one, we have absolute value, which we know always have to be positive, equal to a negative number, which can never be true. So this one is no solution. This one has 0 solutions, no solution. The third one, we have a positive, because absolute value is always positive, is greater than or equal to a negative, which is always true. So this is infinitely many solutions. The fourth one, we have a positive number is less than a negative number, which is never true. So this one again is no solution. And be careful with the fifth one and compare that with the second one. The fifth one, we do have an answer. The answer is 0. The answer is 0. That is different than no solution. No solution means there are no answers. If the answer is 0, like in this case, G is equal to 0. So that's one solution. So make sure you understand the difference between the second case and the fifth case for the test. For number 2, we have absolute value by itself, and we have a positive number on the other side. So we can write the two equations. 3r equal to -12 and 3r equal to +12. Now we want to get r by itself. This 3 is right next to the variable, so that means multiply. So we need to do the opposite operation, which is divide. So we have r equal -4, or divide by 3 on both sides, r equal to +4, and these are the two answers. For number 3, we have absolute value by itself on the left side, so nothing outside of the absolute value lines. And on the right side, we have a positive number, so we can write the two equations. N plus 10 equal -15. And the other one, same, but it will be +15. Now notice the difference between number 3 and number 2. This 10 is being added to the n. On number 2, the number is right next to the variable, so it was being multiplied. So instead of dividing, we move. This plus 10 comes over here, becomes -10. So -15 minus 10 is -25. And for the second answer, -10. So 15 minus 10 is equal to +5. And these are the two solutions. And for number 4, be careful. A lot of students will see this -56 and freak out and say, oh, that's a no solution. But we don't know that yet, because when you look at the other side, you see how we have this -7 that is outside of the absolute value lines? So that needs to go bye-bye. So this -7 is being multiplied to the absolute value because it's written right next to it. So we will need to first divide both sides by -7. And then, as you can see, -56 divided by -7 is +8, which looks good now. And that tells us that we can, because it's a positive number, we can write the two equations. P minus 2 equals to -8, or P minus 2 equals +8. Now to get the -2 to the other side, let's change it to a positive. After moving it, -8 plus 2 is -6. Or for this one, move the -2 to a +2. 8 plus 2 is +10. So -6 and 10 are the solutions. And here is number 5. You see how we have this 1 outside of the absolute value symbol. So this 1 is being added, so it's not being multiplied. So let's make it go bye-bye by moving it to the other side. So this +1 comes over here, becomes -1. So then we have absolute value, x minus 2 equal -12 minus 1 is -13. And then because we see a negative number on this side, well, an absolute value cannot ever equal to a negative number, so we don't need to go on. We just put no solution. So be very careful when you see absolute value by itself equal to a negative. no solution. Do not continue. Do not write the two equations to solve because you'll get fake answers. For number 6, looking outside of the absolute value lines, we have two numbers. We have this -4 and we have this -6. So let's look at this. This -6 is being multiplied to the absolute value, so we need to divide. And we always do that second. So if there's something to move, we move it first. So let's go ahead and move the -4 first. Becomes a +4 on the other side. So we get -6 times absolute value of n plus 9 equal -10 plus 4 is -6. Okay. One more step. Let's divide by -6 so we can get the absolute value by itself. So now we have absolute value of n plus 9 equal to +1, which is what we want, a positive on the other side. Now that lets us write the two equations. Let me change it to green. N plus 9 equal to -1, or n plus 9 equal to +1. Okay, moving this up so we have more room. This 9 is being added, it's not being multiplied, so let's move it. -9, so we have n equal -10, or -9, n equal to -8. And these are the two solutions. Here for number 7, we have a +5 on the other side. And we don't have anything outside of the absolute value line, so we can go ahead and write the two equations. K minus 1 equal -5, or K minus 1 equal to +5. Now this -1 is not being multiplied, so let's move it. +1, -5 plus 1 is equal to -4. Not -6, be careful, put it into your calculator, into your decimals. +1, now this one, 5 plus 1 is equal to +6. And because this is an inequality, we need to remember to draw a number line. So the smaller number on the left, -4, the larger number on the right, +6. And looking at the symbol, you see how we have a line underneath it, this line, so filled in circles. And because this is less than, remember less than looks like an L, so it spells out the word less. It's inside, not outside, so inside. Now writing the interval notation, I am going to use square brackets because remember, when you see filled in circles, and only when you see filled in circles, you use square brackets. Infinities and open circles are round. So the answer is going to be -4, 6, all in square brackets. For number 8, we have a +11 on the other side, and the absolute value is by itself, nothing outside of the absolute value lines. So we can write the two equations, r plus 5 equal -11, or r plus 5 equal to +11. And the 5 is not being multiplied, so let's move it. Becomes negative on the side, so r equal -16, or let's move it. 11 minus 5 is equal to +6. Now because this is an inequality, we need to draw the number lines. So the smaller number, -16, goes first. The bigger number, +6, goes next. And looking at this inequality symbol, you see there is no line underneath the greater than sign, so it's going to be open circles. And because this is greater than, it does not look like an L. L will be less than. This is greater than. We go outside because you want the distance to be great. You want the distance to be big. And here is -infinity. Here is +infinity. So round bracket, round bracket, round bracket, round bracket. Then we can write our solution. Round bracket, -infinity, -16, round bracket, a U for union, because we're putting those two pieces together, +6, round bracket, and +infinity, round bracket. And for number 9, we see we have this -2 outside of the absolute value lines. So that needs to go away first. What is this -2 doing? It's being multiplied because it's right next to the absolute value. So we need to divide by -2, which is very good news because when we divide -12 by -2, we get a positive number, +6. So we have absolute value of -6x. Now remember, when we divide by a negative number, the inequality symbol switches. So this greater than or equal becomes less than or equal. And so I suggest that you scratch this out so that when you draw your number line, you don't make a mistake. Don't look at that anymore. Okay, now we can write the two equations. Negative 6x equal to negative 6, or negative 6x equal to positive 6. Dividing both sides by negative 6. We have x equal to positive 1, dividing both sides by negative 6. Oh, and by the way, we're dividing because the number is right next to the x. It's being multiplied, so we divide. So we have x equal to, oops, this is negative 6, so 6 divided by negative 6 is going to give you negative 1. Now, to make the number line, the smaller number is negative 1, the bigger one is positive 1. And looking at the inequality symbol, because we have a line underneath it, filled in circles, and because this is less than, that symbol looks like an L, so less than, so on the inside. Now the brackets, square brackets, so the answer is going to be square bracket negative 1 comma positive 1 square bracket. Now for the last problem, is ask you to solve and check for extraneous solutions. So the one time you can have extraneous solutions is when you have variables on the other side. You see this 5x minus 24? So remember, what you want to do is, once you get your answers, put them into the blue part I just circled, and you want to see if that blue part gives you a negative number. Because remember, you cannot have absolute value equal to a negative number. That will be a fake solution. So let's go ahead and write the two equations to solve it. So the first equation is going to be 3x minus 8 equal, everything in the blue, let's change the sign. Positive 5x becomes negative 5x. Negative 24 becomes positive 24. So that's one equation. The other equation, we have 3x minus 8 equal, and then for the second equation, don't change anything. And it doesn't really matter what order you put this in. Okay, now let's solve the orange equation. So remember, we want all the variables, all the x's on this side. So the 3x is already here. This negative 5x, come on over here because you have an x, so come join us. Positive 5x. This, on the other side, the right side, only can have numbers. So this negative 8, come join us. This negative changes signs, becomes positive 8. And this 24 is already in the correct place. Now combine the two sides. Combine each side separately. 3x plus 5x is 8x. 8 plus 24 is 32. And so we get, divided by 8, we have x is equal to 4. Now let's solve the second equation. We want the variables, the letters on this side, so 3x is already here. This positive 5x, come on over here. You have an x, you need to be on the left side. Positive changes to negative 5x. And then numbers on the right side, this negative 8 go away, becomes positive 8. And this negative 24 can stay. Now 3x minus 5x is negative 2x. 8 minus 24 is equal to negative 16. Yes, it's correct. Okay, and then we want to get rid of the negative 2, which is right next to the x, so we divide by negative 2 on both sides, and we have x is equal to 8. Now let's do the check. So I am going to put, so for the first one, x is equal to 4. Let's see if that really gives me a positive answer. So I'm going to copy down the blue part, but instead of writing x, I'm going to write down 4, where I see x. 5 times 4 minus 24. So that gives me 20 minus 24, which is equal to a negative 4. So because it's a negative number, we know that this solution is not correct. That's a fake answer. That guy is fake. Okay, so let's see if 8 is being real, or is 8 also being fake. So 5 times x, but x is 8 in this case. 5 times 8 minus 24. 5 times 8 is 40 minus 24 is going to give you a positive 16, so this one is okay. So our only real answer is x equals to 8.